Good morning all. Today we are going to discuss about cervical vertebra. Learning objectives of cervical vertebra. First, we are going to study about the introduction. In the introduction, we are going to read about the vertebra and vertebral column and number of vertebrae present in the vertebral column. And next, what is the length of the vertebral column? All the things we have studied in the introduction. Next, coming to the region-wise, how the spines are arranged. And next, what are the different types of cervical vertebrae? Those are two types: typical vertebra and atypical vertebra. And next to that, we are going to read some special features in the cervical vertebra, mainly cervical rib and next clinical importance of the cervical vertebra and carotid tube. All these things we are going to learn in this cervical vertebra. These are the learning objectives. Next, coming to the introduction. Vertebra. First, what is the type of the vertebra? It is a irregular bone. It is a irregular bone present in the vertebral column. Vertebral column consists of a number of bones are called as a vertebrae. It consists of a number of bones called as a vertebrae. Totally, in early development, these are 33 in number. As the child grows, the sacral and coccygeal vertebrae will be fused and forms a vertebral column. In the adult, it consists of only 26 vertebrae because of the fusion of the sacral and coccygeal vertebrae. And next, its length in males, in adults, male is 71 centimeters, whereas in females it is 61 centimeters in length. Length of the vertebral column is in adult is 71 centimeters, whereas in adult females is 61 centimeters. And next, here we are going to see the curvatures in the vertebral column. Primary curvature, it will be appears before birth. The curvature which will be appears before birth is called as a primary curvature. Next, secondary curvature means it appears after birth. After birth, the curvatures which appears are called as a secondary curvatures. Primary curvatures are two. Those are thoracic and sacral vertebrae. In this thoracic region and sacral region, the primary curvature will be appears, whereas in the secondary curvatures appears in cervical and lumbar regions. Especially in children, immediately after birth, it appears in a C-shaped curvature, which is concave. Anteriorly or ventrally, it is concave. Whereas the secondary curvatures, those are appears in the cervical region, next lumbar, thoracic region, lumbar region, sacral and coccygeal region. These are appears in S shape, whereas primary curvature will be appears in C shape, whereas secondary curvature appear in S shape. Next, how the vertebrae are arranged in region wise. See, these are the cervical vertebrae. These are the cervical vertebrae. These are the thoracic vertebrae. These are the lumbar vertebrae, and these are the sacral vertebrae, and this is a cox. Coming to the number of vertebrae. In the cervical region, we are going to see 7 cervical vertebrae. Whereas in thoracic region, we are going to see the 12 thoracic vertebrae. Whereas in lumbar region, you are going to see 5 lumbar vertebrae. Whereas in the sacrum, you are going to see 5 vertebrae and cox is 4 vertebrae. Totally, in early development, these are 33 in number. Whereas as the age grows, whereas the child grows, it fuses. Sacrum and coccyx will be fused together. Okay. Next, these are the cervical vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae, lumbar vertebrae, and sacral vertebrae. Coming to the curvature, secondary curvature. In primary curvature, which is concave, entirely concave, it is in C shape. Ventrally, it is concave. Whereas in the secondary curvature, in the thoracic region, in the cervical region, which is convex. Ventrally, it is convex. In thoracic region, which is concave. Ventrally, it is concave. Whereas in the lumbar region, it is convex. Again, it is convex. Whereas in the sacral region, sacral and coccygeal region, which is concave, which will be resembles as an S shape. In secondary curvatures are resembles in S shape. See, today we are going to discuss about the cervical vertebrae. These cervical vertebrae, where it is present? It is present between the base of the skull and in the thoracic vertebrae. In between the base of the skull and thoracic vertebrae. See, this is the base of the skull and these are the thoracic vertebrae. These cervical vertebrae, these are totally 7 in number, which are present in the base of the skull and in the first, in between the base of the skull and in the first thoracic vertebra. These are the cervical vertebrae. These are totally 7 in number. Already we had discussed about the thoracic vertebrae, lumbar, sacral and coccygeal vertebrae in the previous class. Now we are going to discuss about the cervical vertebra. Those are totally 7 in number. Those are totally 7 in number. It consists of typical and atypical cervical vertebrae. It consists of typical cervical vertebrae and atypical cervical vertebrae. Typical cervical vertebrae having same characteristic features, whereas atypical is having a different special characteristic features. First, we are going to discuss about the typical cervical vertebra. These typical cervical vertebrae are from C3 to C6. From C3 to C6. These 4 cervical vertebrae are typical cervical vertebrae. These 4 are having the same characteristic features. C3, C4, C5, C6. All these 4 are having a same characteristic features. First, we are going to discuss about the body. This is the body of the cervical vertebra. Body of the cervical vertebra is transversely oval in shape. Body of the cervical vertebra is transversely oval in shape. See here, it is clearly known. Okay, it is transversely oval in shape. It consists of upper surface, lower surface, anterior surface, and posterior surface. Totally, body consists of 4 surfaces: upper or superior surface, lower or inferior surface, anterior surface, and posterior surface. This is about the body. This is which is transversely oval in shape, and then the anterior posterior dimension. Transversely, the dimension is more when compared with the anterior posterior dimension. Its upper surface. In the upper surface, this upper surface of the lateral margins. Upper surface of the lateral margins, there is a raised lip. See, upper surface of the lateral margins, there is a raised lips. These raised lips are called as a Unckel's process. These raised lips are also called as a Unckel's process. Next, coming to the inferior surface. Inferior surface, which will be seen in the next figure. See, this is the inferior surface. This inferior surface is saddle in shape. It is saddle in shape, or it is nearly flat. Okay? Upper surface is concave, whereas lower surface or inferior surface is flat. Whereas anterior surface, this anterior surface which will be gives attachment for the anterior longitudinal ligament, whereas the posterior surface which will be gives attachment for the posterior longitudinal ligament. Anterior surface which will be gives attachment for the anterior longitudinal ligament, and posterior surface which will be gives attachment for the posterior longitudinal ligament. This is about the body, which is transversely oval in shape. It consists of 4 surfaces: anterior surface, posterior surface, and upper and lower surface. In the upper surface, the lateral margins having a raised lips. These raised lips are called as a Unckel's process. Next, coming to the transverse process. This is a transverse process. Transverse process which will be arises in between the body and facets. This is the transverse process which will be passes laterally forwards. Which will be passes laterally forwards in the junction between the body and facets. This is a transverse process. This transverse process consists of anterior root. This is the anterior root which will be merging from the either side of the body of the vertebra. This is the anterior root. This anterior root ends as a tubercle. This tubercle is called as an anterior tubercle. Anterior root which will be ends as a tubercle. It is called as an anterior tubercle. And next, this is the posterior root. This is a posterior root. This posterior root will be ends as a posterior tubercle. Anterior tubercle and posterior tubercle. In between the two tubercles, we are going to see a bar. This bar is called as a costotransverse bar. This is called as a costotransverse bar. Okay. Totally, this anterior root, posterior root, anterior tubercle, posterior tubercle, along with costotransverse bar. This is called as a transverse process. In the transverse process, there is a small foramen. This foramen is called as a foramen transversarium. This is the unique feature for the cervical vertebra. The transverse process of the cervical vertebra is pierced by a foramen. It is called as a foramen transversarium. It is called as a foramen transversarium. This foramen transversarium, which will allow to pass for the vertebral vessels, vertebral artery and vertebral veins. This is the foramen transverse area. Okay, this is the transverse process, anterior root, posterior root, anterior tubercle, posterior tubercle. In between the two tubercles, you are going to see a bar, which is a costotransverse bar. Okay. This anterior root, anterior tubercle, and costotransverse bar and posterior tubercle. All these four together called as a costal elements, except posterior root. What is costal element? Anterior root of transverse process, anterior root of transverse process, anterior tubercle, and costotransverse bar along with posterior tubercle. All these four together called as a costal elements. Next, posterior root is only the true transverse process. Posterior root of the transverse process is the true transverse element. This is about the transverse process. And next, coming to the pedicles. This is the pedicle. Where you are going to see the pedicle? Pedicle, which will be arises from the posterior lateral to the body. Okay, these are the pedicles, which will be arises between the upper and lower margins of the posterior lateral aspect of the body. This is the direction for the pedicles, which will be passes posteriorly backwards. This is the pedicle, which is somewhat thick and strong. These pedicles will be forms a superior vertebral notch above, and this is the inferior vertebral notch. Superior vertebral notch above and inferior vertebral notch below. This is the pedicle. Pedicle is nothing but a structure which will be passes backwards laterally from the body in between the upper and lower margins of the body. This is the pedicle. Pedicle consists above is a upper vertebral notch, below it is a lower vertebral notch. And next, lamina. These are the laminas. Laminas are thick. Thin. Pedicles are thick, whereas laminas are thin and long. Pedicles are thick and short. Laminas, which will be arises from the pedicles. Laminas, which will be arises from the pedicles, which will be arises posterior medially. The extension of the pedicles, which will be posterior medially. This is called as a laminas. This is a lamina. On either side of the laminas will be fuses in the midline as a spinous process. Both the laminas will be fuses together and forms a spine in the midline. This is called as a spinous process. This spinous process is thick. Okay, this spinous process is thick. And next, this spinous process is bifid. Okay, this is also an important special characteristic feature in the cervical vertebra. Whereas the spinous process is bifid in the cervical region. This is the spinous process. The spinous process is bifid. And next, coming to the articular facets. It consists of superior and inferior articular facets. These are the where we are going to see the articular facets junction between the pedicles and laminae. This is called as a articular facets. This is the superior articular facets, and below that you are going to see a inferior articular facet. See, this is the superior articular facet and this is the inferior articular facet. First, we are going to see about the superior articular facet. This superior articular facet will be faces backwards and upwards medially, which will be directed backwards, upwards, medially. See the direction of the superior articular facets. Backwards, upwards, medially. Whereas inferior articular facets. These inferior articular facets. These are the inferior articular facets, which will be faces forwards anteriorly, which will be faces forwards anteriorly. These are the main structures in the cervical vertebra. And next, this is a vertebral foramen or vertebral canal. This vertebral canal is large in cervical region. This vertebral foramen is large in, it is larger than the body of the cervical vertebra, which is triangular in shape. Which is triangular in shape. Why it is that? Because of the enlargement of the cervical part of the spinal cord. Here the cervical enlargement is present, so that the vertebral foramen is large in the cervical vertebra. We had studied about the body, and next transverse process, and next pedicles, and next laminate, and next spinous process, and next superior articular facets, and next inferior articular facets, and vertebral foramen. These are all the important characteristic features in the cervical vertebra of all the C3, C4, C5 and C6 vertebrae. Above the pedicle you are going to see a superior vertebral notch. Below that you are going to see a inferior vertebral notch. And next, coming to the attachments of the cervical vertebra, typical cervical vertebra. It consists of anterior tubercle, posterior tubercle. See, this anterior tubercle, which will be gives attachment for the three muscles. Those three muscles are scalenus anterior, longus capitis, and longus colli. Scalenus anterior, next longus capitis, and longus colli. See, these are the anterior tubercles of the cervical vertebra. These are the anterior tubercles which will be gives attachment for the scalenus anterior muscle. See, these are the scalenus anterior muscle. This is the scalenus anterior muscle, which will be arises from the anterior tubercle. And next, this is the longus capitis. This is the longus capitis muscle. This is the longus capitis. Whereas this is the longus colli muscle. Longus colli muscle. This is the oblique part, and this is the vertical part of the longus colli muscle. All these muscles will be takes origin from the anterior tubercle. Those three are scalenus anterior, and next longus capitis, and next longus colli. These are the three muscles arises from the anterior tubercle. Whereas posterior tubercle will be gives attachment for the scalenus posterior and scalenus medius muscles. Scalenus medius, and all these three are the scalenus anterior, posterior, and medius muscle. This medius and posterior, scalenus medius and scalenus posterior will be takes origin from the posterior tubercle, whereas scalenus anterior will be takes origin from the anterior tubercle. Along with that, you are going to see the attachments of the levator scapulae, and next splenius cervicis, and next longissimus cervicis, and iliocostalis cervicis. Iliocostalis cervicis. All this muscle which gives attachment for the posterior tubercle of transverse process. And next, coming to the spine. Spine which will be gives attachment for the interspinalis muscle. These are all the deep group muscles. Interspinalis muscle and semispinalis cervicis and semispinalis spinalis cervicis and multifidus. All these muscles which will be gives attachment for the spinous process of cervical vertebra. Those are interspinalis, semispinalis, and spinalis cervicis and multifidus muscle. These are the attachments for the cervical vertebra. And next, coming to the atypical vertebra. Atypical vertebrae are C1 atlas. C1 is also called as a atlas. Whereas C2, it is called as a axis. C2 is called as a axis. This is the atlas bone, which is called as a C1 vertebra, cervical vertebra, first cervical vertebra. This is the second cervical vertebra, is called as an axis. In the axis, by seeing the odontoid process are dense, you should identify that it is an axis. This is the axis bone, which is the second cervical vertebral bone. And next, this is the seventh cervical vertebral bone. These three are the atypical cervical vertebrae. First, deeply we are going to discuss about the first cervical vertebra. It is also called as a atlas. It is also called as a atlas. This is the atlas bone. What are the coming to the shape? What is the shape of the bone? It is nearly ring shape. It is nearly all the vertebrae, all the cervical vertebrae will be arranged like a ring-like vertebrae. These are ring shape. Okay. This atlas consists of anterior arch. This is the anterior arch, and this is the posterior arch, and these two are the lateral masses. Anterior arch, posterior arch, and lateral masses. First, we are going to discuss about the anterior arch. Anterior arch is small when compared with posterior arch. This anterior arch consists of anterior surface, posterior surface, upper border, and lower border. Anterior surface, posterior surface, upper border, and lower border. In the anterior surface, this is the anterior surface. In the anterior surface, we are going to see a tubercle in the median plane. This is called as an anterior tubercle. This is called as an anterior tubercle, which will be seen in the median plane, in the anterior surface of the anterior arch, anterior surface of the anterior arch of atlas. And next, in the posterior surface, you are going to see a oval shaped facet. This is a oval shaped facet which will be articulates with the dense or odentate process of axis. Dense or odentate process of axis in the posterior surface. Whereas this upper border which will be gives attachment for the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane. This upper border which will be gives attachment for the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane. Whereas this lower border which will be gives attachment for the anterior longitudinal ligament. Anterior longitudinal ligament. And next, this anterior tubercle also which will be gives attachment for the anterior longitudinal ligament. This is about the anterior arch. Next, coming to the posterior arch. This posterior arch which will be forms a 2/5 of the cervical atlas, which forms a 2/5 of the ring. This is the posterior arch. Again, this posterior arch is also having anterior surface, posterior surface, upper surface, lower surface, and anterior and posterior borders. Upper surface, lower surface, there is anterior border and posterior border. Just behind the lateral mass, these two are the lateral masses. Just behind the lateral mass in the upper surface, you are going to see a groove. This groove lodges the vertebral artery. This groove lodges the vertebral artery. And next, this posterior border. In the posterior border, you are going to see a tubercle. This is called as a posterior tubercle. Whereas anterior tubercle will be seen to the anterior arch, whereas posterior tubercle will be seen to the posterior arch. This posterior tubercle, which will be gives attachment for the ligamental nuclei. Already we have studied in the previous classes. It will be extends from the external occipital protuberance to C7 spine. It will be extends from the external occipital protuberance to C7 spine. Okay, in the atlas, it will be gives attachment to the posterior tubercle in the middle. And rest of the upper surface which will be gives attachment for the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. Upper border of the anterior arch which will be gives attachment for the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane, whereas upper surface of the posterior arch which will be gives attachment for the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. This is about the posterior arch. And next, coming to the lateral masses. These two are the lateral masses. This lateral mass consists of upper facet and our superior articular facet, and this is the inferior articular facet. This is the superior view of atlas and this is the inferior view of the atlas. So these are the superior articular facets which are formed by lateral masses. Two superior articular facets and two inferior articular facets. This superior articular facet which is bean shaped, or kidney shaped. This is the superior articular facets. On the medial side of the superior articular facet, there is a tubercle. This is the tubercle. This tubercle of lateral mass, the tubercle of the lateral mass will be gives attachment for the transverse ligament. The tubercle of the lateral mass, medial tubercle of the lateral mass, which will be gives attachment for the transverse ligament. This superior articular facets, which will be articulates with the condyles of the occipital bone, occipital condyles of the occipital bone, which will be formed a atlanto-occipital joint. Already we had discussed in the previous class. This is about the atlanto-occipital joint. How the atlanto-occipital joint is formed? By the condyles of the occipital bone along with the superior articular facets of the atlas, which will be formed a atlanto-occipital joint. And next, these are the inferior articular facets. These are flat. These are flat and circular, whereas these are bean shaped, which will be faces forwards medially, whereas inferior articular facets are flat and circular, which will be articulates with the superior articular facets of axis, which will be articulates with the superior articular facets of axis, which will be formed a atlanto-axial joint, This is about the inferior articular facets. And next, this is the transverse process. This transverse process will be arises from the lateral side of the articular facets, You are going to feel the transverse process. Here, the transverse process is somewhat large and slender. You are going to feel this transverse process in between the angle of the mandible and mastoid process. Here, you are going to feel the transverse process of the atlas. We are going to feel the transverse process of the atlas in between the mastoid process and angle of the mandible. This is about the atlas. Here, the main special features here is absence of body. Here, in the first cervical vertebra or atlas, there is a body is absent here. Whereas spinous process, which will be resembles as a posterior tubercle. Here, spinous process is also absent. Here, in the first cervical vertebra or atlas, there is no body and no spinous process. Spinous process, which will be resembles the posterior tubercle. This is about the atlas. Here, the main characteristic features is absence of body and spinous process. Spinous process, which will be resembles the posterior tubercle. Okay, these are the main characteristic features in the atlas. One is anterior arch, other is posterior arch. In the anterior arch, you are going to see anterior tubercle. On the anterior surface, in the posterior surface, you are going to see a facet which will be articulated with the odontoid process at ends of axis. And next, this is the upper border, which will be gives attachment for the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane. There is anterior tubercle, which will be gives attachment for the anterior longitudinal ligament. And next, this is the posterior arch. This posterior arch, just behind the lateral mass, there is a groove which lodges the spinal root. Along with that, here you are going to see a vertebral artery. And next, just behind that, rest of the upper surface of the posterior arch, which will be gives attachment for the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. On the posterior surface, on the posterior border, which will be gives, there is an elevation, is called as a posterior tubercle. This posterior tubercle, which will be gives attachment for the ligamentum nucleus. Okay, and next, these are the inferior articular facets, which is circular and flat. Okay, these are the transverse process. We are going to feel the transverse process in between the angle of the mandible and mastoid process. This is about the first cervical vertebra. It is also called as a atlas. See, coming to the attachments of the atlas. Coming to the attachments of the atlas. Anterior tubercle, where you are going to see the anterior tubercle on the anterior surface of the anterior arch. There is a tubercle. It is called as a anterior tubercle. Already I have told you, which will give you attachment for the anterior longitudinal muscle ligament. Anterior longitudinal ligament. On either side of the anterior longitudinal ligament, it will be gives attachment for the longus collis. See, this is the anterior tubercle. This anterior tubercle, which will be gives attachment for the anterior longitudinal ligament. This is the site for the attachment for of the anterior longitudinal ligament. On either side of the anterior longitudinal ligament, this is the site for longus collis. This is the longus collis muscle. And next, lower border, upper border, there is anterior tubercle, and lower border, which will be gives attachment to the anterior longitudinal ligament. Next, coming to the posterior arch. Posterior arch, which on the posterior border, you are going to see a posterior tubercle. The tubercle which will be gives attachment for the ligamentum nuchae. On either side of the ligamentum nuchae, see, on either side of the ligamentum nuchae, it will be gives attachment for the rectus capitis posterior minor. Rectus capitis posterior minor. And upper surface, already I have told you, this upper surface of the posterior arch, which will be gives attachment for the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. Whereas lower surface, which will be gives attachment for the ligamentum flap. Ligamentum flava. It will be resembles as a laminus. Next, coming to the lateral mass. Lateral mass. On the medial side of the lateral mass, you are going to see a tubercle. The tubercle which will be gives attachment to the transverse ligament. See, this is the transverse ligament. This is the transverse ligament. This is the medial side of the lateral mass. This is the medial side of the lateral mass. There is a tubercle which will be gives attachment for the transverse ligament. Just anterior to the lateral mass. Just anterior to the lateral mass. The anterior surface, which will be gives attachment for the rectus capitis anterior muscle. This is the site for the attachment of rectus capitis anterior muscle. This is the lateral muscle of atlas. And next, coming to the attachments on the transverse process. Attachments on the transverse process. This transverse process consists of upper surface and lower surface. See, this is the upper surface and this is the lower surface. This upper surface, which will be gives attachment to the rectus capitis lateralis. Rectus capitis lateralis and superior oblique muscle. Rectus capitis lateralis and superior oblique muscle. See, this is the rectus capitis lateralis, and behind that you are going to see a superior oblique muscle. Whereas coming to the inferior surface of transverse process, which will be gives attachment to the inferior oblique muscle. Inferior oblique muscle, which will be gives attachment to the transverse process. Inferior surface of transverse process of first cervical vertebra. These are the attachments for the atlas. See, these are the ligament. This is the first cervical vertebra. This is the anterior arch. Okay, this is the anterior arch. In front, it will be gives upper border of the anterior arch, which will be gives attachment to the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane. This is the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane. In front of that, there is a ligament. It is called as a anterior longitudinal ligament, which will be gives attachment to the anterior tubercle and lower border of the anterior arch. This is the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane, which will be gives attachment from the upper border of the anterior arch. And next, this is the anterior longitudinal ligament. Behind the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane, you are going to see an apical ligament, which will be gives attachment to the apex of the odontoid process. Will be discussed later. Okay, this is the apical ligament. And next, this is the posterior longitudinal ligament, which will be attached to the posterior surface of body of all the cervical vertebrae. This is the posterior longitudinal ligament. This is the posterior longitudinal ligament. Behind that, it will be gives attachment for the tectorial membrane. Behind it, it will be gives attachment for the tectorial ligament. Sorry, tectorial membrane. All these will be reaches to the clivus of basi occiput. Clivus of basi occiput. When from before backwards, the anterior longitudinal ligament and atlanto-occipital ligament or membrane, and next the apical ligament, behind that posterior longitudinal ligament, behind that tectorial membrane. These are the structures which will be arranged on the clivus of basi occiput. And next, see, this is the posterior vertebral arch. This is the posterior vertebral arch. The upper surface of the posterior arch, which will be gives attachment for the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. This is the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. And on the posterior border, there is a elevating part. It is called as a posterior tubercle. Okay. This posterior tubercle, which will be gives attachment for the ligamentum nuclei. This is the ligamentum nuclei, which will be extends from the external occipital protuberance to up to C7 vertebra to all the spinous processes. This is the ligamentum nuclei, and this is the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. Okay, in between the vertebrae, we are going to see that this is the series of ligamentum flavi. Series of ligamentum flavi. See here, this is an anterior longitudinal ligament. See, this is an anterior longitudinal ligament. And next, coming to the axis. Axis is a second cervical vertebra. It is a second cervical vertebra. Its main characteristic feature in the axis is odontoid process. Odontoid process is also called as a dens. See, this is the odontoid process, which is also called as a dens. From where it will be arises? It will be arises from the upper surface of the body of the second cervical vertebra, which is a tooth-like projection, which will be projects from a tooth-like projection from the upper surface of the body of cervical vertebra. It is called as a odontoid process or dens. Odontoid process or dens. This will be articulated anteriorly with the anterior arch of atlas. What type of joint? It is a pivot type of synovial joint. This is a pivot type of synovial joint. See, this is the odontoid process. Odontoid process is nothing but it will be arises from, it is a tooth-like projection arises from the upper surface of the body of the second cervical vertebra. Okay, and next, these are the pedicles. On either side of the odontoid process, there is a small pedicles. And these are short and tough. Okay, these are the pedicles. Just later to the pedicles, we are going to see articular facets. These are the superior articular facets. These superior articular facets are faces laterally upwards. These are faces laterally upwards, which are circular, which are flat and circular in shape. Which are flat and circular in shape, which will be articulated with the inferior articular facets of C1 vertebra, are also called as a atlas. Forms a atlanto-axial joint, which will be forms a atlanto-axial joint. This is the atlanto-axial joint. And next, this is the superior articular facets. And next, this is the transverse process. This is the transverse process. And next, this transverse process is pierced by a foramen transverse. This lateral articular facet will be overhangs on this foramen transverse. This will be overhangs on the foramen transverse. And next, these are the laminals. These laminals are thick. These laminals are thick and long. Thick and long. These will be fuses together and forms a spinous process in the midline. These laminals will be fuses together and forms a spinous process. This spinous process is bifid. This spinous process is bifid and ends as a tubercle. These two are the tubercles of the spinous process and ends as a deep notch. This is the deep notch. It is called as a spina bifid. Next, these are the inferior articular facets. These inferior articular facets, which will be faces forwards laterally, which will be faces forwards laterally. These are the parts of the second cervical vertebra. Odontoid process organs. This is the pedicle, and these are the superior articular facets. And next, this is the transverse process. Transverse process is pierced by the transverse foramen. And these are the lamines, and these are the inferior articular facets, and these are the spinous process, which will be arises from the laminae. This is called as a spinous process, which is bifid. Now, like that, what are the attachments for the odontoid process? Tip of the odontoid process, which will be gives attachment for the alar ligament. Tip of the odontoid process, which will be gives attachment for the alar ligament. See, this is the apical ligament, not alar ligament, apical ligament. Tip of the odontoid process, which will be gives attachment for the apical ligament. This is the apical ligament. This is the odontoid process. This is the body of the second cervical vertebra. This is the odontoid process. Tip of the odontoid process, which will be gives attachment for the apical ligament. On either side of the apical ligament, there is a attachment for the alar ligament. On either side of the apical ligament, which will gives attachment for the alar ligament. This is the site for the attachment of the alar ligament. The medial tubercles of lateral mass, which will be gives attachment for the transverse ligament. This is the site where the transverse ligament will be attaches. And next, these are the superior articular facets, and these are the pedicles, and this is the foramen transversarium, and this is the transverse process. And next, this is the posterior arch. Okay. Next, this is the spinous process. Main important characteristic feature in the second cervical vertebra is odontoid process, which will be arises from the upper surface of the body of the second cervical vertebra. This is the odontoid process. See, these are the superior articular facets. This is the transverse ligament. This is the transverse ligament. This pivot joint, which will be useful for the rotation of the head. This is useful for the movement of rotation of the head. And next, this is the cruciate ligament. This cruciate ligament is like upper band and lower band. This is the cruciate ligament. And next, these two are the alar ligaments. In front of the upper band, we are going to see a apical ligament. This is the attachments of ligaments here. And next, coming to the 7th cervical vertebra. 7th cervical vertebra. This 7th cervical vertebra is in the 7th cervical vertebra. Main characteristic features here is vertebral prominence. This vertebral prominence is here. The spinous process is long and thick. See here. This is the spinous process of 7th cervical vertebra, which is long and pointed. Which is long and pointed. This is a vertebral prominence. This is a main important characteristic feature in the 7th cervical vertebra. This is the site where the spines of the rest of the spines will be counted from here. This will be palpable easily behind the neck. Okay? It will be easily palpated. It will be easily palpated. It is subcutaneous. This process will be subcutaneous. And this is the site where the rest of the spines will be counted from the 7th cervical spine, which is long and prominent in the 7th cervical vertebra. See here, next main important thing here, all the rest of the cervical spines, rest of the cervical spinous process are bifid except C7. Here there is absence of bifid. Here the spinous process is C here. See here, the spinous process is long and thick. Here the spinous process is long and thick. There is no bifid. There is no bifid in the spinous process. And next, coming to the foramen transverse cilium. Okay, this foramen transverse cilium is very small when compared with the rest of the spinous process. This foramen transverse cilium is small when compared with the rest of the foramen transverse cilium, which will be seen on the spinous process. Here, it will not allow for the passage of the vertebral artery. This vertebral artery, which will be passes from the sixth cervical vertebra in the foramen transverse cilium. Here, see, anterior tubercle is absent in the seventh cervical vertebra. The anterior tubercle is absent. Rest of the features are same like typical cervical vertebra. Body is elongated from side to side. Okay, and next coming to the transverse process, this is the anterior root. Anterior root. In the anterior root, anterior tubercle is absent. Next, this is the posterior root. This is the posterior tubercle. And next, this is the foramen transverse. Sometimes foramen transverse will be 2 in number and it's absent on one side or on both sides. And next, these two are the superior articular facets, and below that we are going to see the inferior articular facets. Here the articular facets should be faces backwards, whereas inferior articular facets should be faces forwards. Whereas in the rest of the cervical vertebrae, upwards and downwards. Here forwards and backwards. Articular facets should be faces forwards and backwards. This is of the main characteristic features in the seventh cervical vertebra. Mainly vertebral prominence is formed by the spinous process. Here the spinous process is long and thick, whereas the spinous process is not bifidal. Coming to the attachments in the posterior surface of the spine. See, this is the back of the trunk. This is the back of the trunk. See, these are the 7 cervical spines. These are the 7 cervical spines. Here, it will be gives attachment for the back muscles. The spinous processes which will be gives attachment for the back muscles. Mainly, it will be gives attachment for the trapezius and rhomboides major. See, this is the trapezius muscle. This is the trapezius muscle. And next, this is the rhomboides major. And this is the rhomboides minor. Here, rhomboides minor will be inserted onto the 7 cervical spine. It will be attached to the 7 cervical spine. And next, this is the levator scapulae. This is the levator scapulae, which will be attached to the posterior tubercles of cervical vertebrae. Posterior tubercles of the cervical vertebrae. And next, deep groove muscles. These are all the deep groove muscles, and these are the superficial. Trapezius, rhomboides minor, and levator scapulae. These are the superficial muscles, and these are the deep groove muscles. Those are splenius capitis, longissimus capitis, semispinalis capitis, splenius capitis, and semispinalis cervicis. All these are the deep groove muscles. Splenius capitis, longissimus capitis, semispinalis capitis, splenius cervicis, and semispinalis cervicis. In between that, you are going to see some ligaments. Interspinalis ligament, all these ligaments will be seen. These are the deep groove muscles which will be gives attachment to the spines of the cervical vertebra. And next, coming to the attachments of the ligaments attaches to the vertebra. Ligaments which will be attached to the vertebra. See, this is the body of the vertebra. This is the spinous process of the vertebra. This is the body of the vertebra, and this is the spinous process. See, for the body, this is the upper surface, this is the anterior surface, this is the lower surface, and this is the posterior surface. Sorry. This is the body. This is the body of the cervical vertebra. See, this is the upper surface, this is the lower surface, this is the anterior surface, and this is the posterior surface. These are the spinous process. This is the spinous process. For the anterior surface, It will be gives attachment for the anterior longitudinal ligament, for the posterior surface, which will be gives attachment for the posterior longitudinal ligament. For the laminus, which will be gives attachment for the ligamentum flavi. See, series of ligamentum flavi, which will be attached to the laminus of all the vertebrae, along with thoracic, sacral, lumbar. All this will be this attachment for the ligamentum flavi. Laminus, which will be gives attachment for the ligamentum flavi. In between the spines, this is a interspinal ligament. In between the spines of the vertebrae, this is a interspinal ligament. For the tips of the spinous process, which will be gives attachment to the supraspinous ligament. For the tips of the spines, which will be gives attachment to the supraspinous ligament. Anterior longitudinal ligament to the anterior surface of the body, posterior longitudinal ligament to the posterior surface of the body, whereas ligamentum flavi, which will be attached to the upper border and anterior surface of the laminus. And next, interspinous ligament. This is the interspinous ligament in between the two spinous processes, whereas this is the supraspinous ligament, which will be attached to the spinous process of spines. These are the ligaments which will be attached to the vertebra. Next, coming to the applied aspects. Applied aspects. Death occurs during judicial hanging. Here, see, the odentate process is dislocated from the axis. Odentate process is dislocated from the axis and causes compression of the spinal cord. During judicial hanging, there is a rupture of transverse ligament or dislocation of the dens of the axis, which will be causes a compression of the spinal cord. Next, coming to the carotid tubercle. See, anterior tubercle of the sixth cervical vertebra. Here, the anterior tubercle of the sixth cervical vertebra is larger. See here, this is the sixth cervical vertebra. This is the anterior tubercle of sixth cervical vertebra is large. So, this is called as a carotid tubercle. Here, carotid pulse will be gently pressing on and see the pulsation of the carotid artery. Okay. This will be gives. This is an important landmark for the regional anesthesia such as brachial plexus blocks and cervical plexus blocks. Okay. This is a subclavian artery. This vertebral artery is a branch of the subclavian artery which will be passes through the foramen transverse. See, this is a course of the vertebral artery which will be processed from C6 to C1, and next it will be both the vertebral arteries will be fused together and forms a basilar artery. Next, coming to the cervical rib. Cervical rib, it is an extra rib which will be arises from the transverse process of C7 vertebra, which will be arises from the transverse process of C7 vertebra. It is present occasionally. It is present occasionally and causes as a thoracic outlet syndrome. Causes as a thoracic outlet syndrome. In this case of cervical rib, there is a compression of lower trunk of brachial plexus. Compression of lower trunk of brachial plexus, which causes weakness of muscles. Next, cervical spinal stenosis. See, this is the cervical spinal stenosis. The spinal stenosis is nothing but narrowing of the spinal canal, which causes the compression of the spinal cord, which causes pain and numbness, tingling sensation, and weakness in the neck, shoulder region, and superior extremities. Next, coming to the lordosis. Lordosis is nothing but there is a abnormal curvature in the vertebral column. Okay, it is mostly occurs in the cervical vertebra and in lumbar region. Lordosis is mainly occurs in the cervical region and lumbar region. In the cervical region, it is mostly occurs in C1 and C2 levels. It is mostly occurs at C1 and C2 level. Whereas here, if there is any lumbar cervical lordosis, muscles will be pulled in different direction, causes spasm and tightening of the muscles. Next, coming to the herniation of nucleus pulposus. Herniation of nucleus pulposus. See, this is an intervertebral disc. This intervertebral disc consists of central part and peripheral part. Central part is soft and jelly-like. Its central part is soft and jelly-like. Whereas peripheral part is annulus fibrosus. Annulus fibrosus. It is having less elastic nature, whereas nucleus pulposus is having high elastic nature. This nucleus pulposus will be herniated. This nucleus pulposus will be herniated through annular string. Will be herniated towards the annular limb, and here it will be compressed as the spinal cord. See, this is like there is a compression on the spinal nerves. This is about the herniation of the nucleus pulposus. See, what are the characteristic features? C3 to C6 are the typical, and atypical are C1, C2, C7. Body is present for all the vertebrates except C1, whereas anterior arch is present only for the C1. Whereas posterior arch is present for all. And here posterior arch will be resembles as a laminus. Spinous process is bifid in all except C7. It is single and long. Whereas spinous process is absent in the cervical vertebra, first cervical vertebra. It basically resembles as a posterior to superior articular process. Thank you.